Hi guys, just to let you know, we've got a brand new website, drcharlieward.com, where all our videos will be loaded over the next few weeks, and you'll be able to view all of those there's no charge for watching any of those. We've moved them all onto our own platform because all the doctor ones, which are very, very important, have been taken down, so we've now got control over those, but every single video we post will be free to watch. That's very important for you to know. The other thing is we're getting an awful lot of people asking us about gold and silver, and I've always been an advocate of gold and silver. And myself, I'm not in a position to give financial advice. I'm not qualified to do so. I'm just going to tell you what I've personally done. I've personally bought gold and silver, and I've used a company that I trust, which is shown below here. They've always looked after me well. And if you order from them more than £250 worth, you get a free 1 ounce silver coin, which is very, very nice. It's a nice little gift. But this is not an endorsement. This is just what I have done personally, and it's up to you. It's your choice. As I said, I'm not qualified to give the advice on financial advice, but it's just what I have done personally. And I hope you enjoy it. And I hope you enjoy watching all of my videos. Thank you.
Yeah,
I was in the woke generation. Oh, I wouldn't survive this time at all. I'd be crying my eyes out. But no, I'm very, very happy, very, very relaxed. And I don't have any sense of fear right now because we're living in an amazing time.
Yeah,
you guys, we're talking about gold and silver. What are we on today?
The 5 things, Charlie. We want to talk about the 5 things that nobody tells you about when buying precious metals, because we have so many people come to us again. We've said this before, and I haven't got a clue where to start, and I don't know what questions to ask. Okay. So again, as usual, mate, we call it our disclaimer. We're not financial advisors. We have to say this every time. We're not financial advisors. We only educate people. We don't believe in advice. We believe in education and empowering people to make their own decisions, because people aren't stupid. Yep. If they get given this information, which they don't, people aren't taught this stuff. If they get given this information, then they can make their own informed, informed
judgments,
decisions. Yeah, and they can move forward. But these points that we're going to go through, these 5 points, are points that if we'd have known these right at the beginning, we wouldn't have made these mistakes. And sometimes these mistakes can be costly. So we're just trying to help people not make the same mistakes, and basically, we all learn, don't we, from mistakes. But if we can help people save money, keep more money in their pockets rather than lose it, and then it's going to be better off for them, isn't it? So they can learn from our mistakes rather than making them themselves. Is what I'm saying. There's
one classic example in very simple layman's terms that I learned very, very early on in my life. Is buying a jacuzzi, an outdoor jacuzzi. The salesman will sell it to you, sex, champagne, women, all the rest of it. They don't tell you about cleaning it and pH levels. Because once you get into that, you just go, why the hell didn't you tell me? I'd never bought one. And this is where the governments and the mainstream media have forced us down one line and sold it to us. And then they've taken us away from gold and silver. You only have to look at the old generations. They used to keep their money under the bed, under the floorboards, and common sense.
It's just when people do actually get it, they're just like, what stops them is just like, where do I start? What do I ask? They don't know what to ask. They don't know what these major points are. So hopefully we're going to, by the end of this this webinar, hopefully we'll have nailed it. We'll have nailed them points, so people understand exactly what to ask and
5 questions.
The 5 main points these are. We've whittled them down and spent a lot of time putting it together. Well, Adam has more than me.
Good man.
Right. Let me share my screen. There we go. 5 things no one tells you about precious metals. So here we go. Are these in any particular order, James? I forget now. They're all important. They're all important,
aren't they? Yeah.
The first one is the cost of waiting. When we first heard about the cost of waiting, we were like, what are you talking about? There's no cost to waiting. It's just time. But when you do the maths, which we've done, there is a cost to waiting. There literally is. So let's imagine you've got £10,000. Doesn't matter what currency it is really, but let's take £10,000. And let's say you met up with a friend 20 years ago. You both had £10,000, and your friend said, hey, you should chuck that £10,000. You should buy some gold. You know, I've had a tip off. Gold's going to be big. This is what you should do with it. And you said, do you know what? I'm not going to do that. I'm going to put my £10,000 in a bank account, in a UK savings account. You know, oh, saving rates are good, blah, blah, blah. If you would have done that 20 years ago, you'd have put your money in the savings account. Your friend would have bought gold. Your friend would be better off by £53,500. This is starting with 10,000. And this is including as well, by the way, the interest that you would have got from a UK savings account and taking off the inflation. So this is kind of net of all the numbers. If you literally sat down and said, here's what I've got 20 years later, and your friend said, well, here's what I've got, they'd be up by 53,500. Okay. Oh, have I missed the boat? Well, let's look at the next one. If the same would have happened 15 years ago, and you'd have seen another friend and they'd have said, look, £10,000, you know, you should really get into this gold thing. And, you know, they'd be better off by £30,000. Again, starting with 10,000 15 years ago. If you'd have done the same 10 years ago, you'd have met up with a friend and they said, look, put your money in gold. And you said, no, I'll put it in a savings account because, you know, markets are turbulent and things go up and down. And yep, fair dues, they do. Even when 10 years ago, when the markets were going up and down, and there were some big downs, you were still better off with gold than paper money in a bank account over 10 years. Remember, this is net of everything. And if you'd have done the same 5 years ago, you'd be better off by over £7,000, starting with £10,000 in every scenario. So there is a cost.
We spent a lot of time doing the numbers, Adam, didn't we?
Yes, we had some heated debates about the numbers as well. let me say that. Yeah. But this is the cost of waiting. We would have loved to have all done this many years ago, but we always say the only wrong time to do this, we think, in our humble opinion, is tomorrow. Okay? So
can I just add something to that, Adam, too, mate? Yeah, sorry, just add something to that too. This is in everything that we do, isn't it, mate? This is everything that we do. But we'll speak to people years later and they still haven't taken action, and we'll just say to them, right, well, it isn't just with this, it's with other things that we teach, and this is why we work so flipping hard at keeping everything we do simple, because if it isn't simple, if it's complicated, it means people don't take action, which means they're waiting. And it's costing them. So we've got to keep it all very, very simple. So they take action. So they're more likely to take action. Sorry, Adam, for cutting in there, mate. No,
it's good. It's good. And yeah, like James said, we've got people that we have spoke to and said, look, you know, this is this is what we're doing. We've done the maths. We think this is a good idea. And we've met up with them later on, and they've said, oh, how's that thing going? And we've said, look, here's what you could have won, kind of thing. Not in a smug way, but just some people need the pain first of all. You know, they need that motivation to go, oh, okay, now I'll do something. So that's the first one, the cost of waiting.
Most people are motivated by that, aren't they? By pain.
Yeah, sadly.
By pain, it's either pain or pleasure. It's pain normally, isn't it? It's salespeople use that as a sales gimmick, don't they? They use the fear of loss. The human beings have a fear of loss, or they'll use all sorts of tools to. Anyway, but just tap into the psychology.
This is to make your expectation of gain greater than your fear of loss.
Yes.
Well, yes. Yeah. That's another good way of explaining. Yeah, totally, mate.
The second thing. So this is the first thing we wish we knew years ago. We'd have done it a lot quicker if we knew all this. Is ownership. Massive thing. Now there's a few different versions, different ways of looking at this. Here's the ways that you don't own metals. You don't own the physical metal itself. If you buy metals on an ETF, electronic traded funds or something like that, that's what they stand for. This is when you're kind of betting on the price. You're betting on the price, but you don't own the metals yourselves. With this, you've got a counterparty risk. So what you're saying is you're betting on the price, and you're also betting on the company to pay you out. It's almost like going to a bookies, to the betting shop. You put your money down on a horse. You're betting, one, that horse wins. Secondly, you are betting that the betting company can pay you out at the other side. If they don't, the bet is useless. If the company can't pay you out, it doesn't really matter what happens. And with ETFs, you don't have the physical metals. You don't own it. You've got this other risk in there as well. Mm. The other is if it's unallocated. We could all say, yeah, send us some money and you've bought some metals, but they're not allocated and they're not set aside for you. They are not yours. They're just in a pool of everyone else's. Obviously, the classic money in a bank you don't own. Once you give it to the bank, it's on their balance sheet. It's not on your personal balance sheet. You don't own the money. We had to throw that one in there. And the second one is any kind of paper gold or promise of gold. Promises are good until they're not. So if someone's got a promise of gold, that promise can be taken away. The opposite of that, the way that you do own these metals, is when it's physical, first of all. It's fully allocated in your name, and it's legally owned by you. So you're not risking, you're not kind of gambling and rolling the dice with a company to say, look, can you guys pay me out? And can you, it all boils down to this question. If the company disappears, does your gold also disappear? Mm-hmm. And if the answer is yes, then you don't own it. Mm-hmm. If the company can disappear and you still own the metals, then you own it. It's as simple as that. That's what we've really boiled it down to. Yeah. And, even if you're getting a really good price, but you don't own it, it's like cutting corners with insurance. If you're getting a better price, but it's not really doing what it's meant to be doing, how good is it? And we always see gold as an economic insurance policy. You don't want to cut corners with it. You want to know at the end of the day, will it pay out? Will it do the job that you want it to do? And ownership is the key for all of that. The next thing, storage. Now, look, some of these things, we're not telling you what to do or how to go about this. We're just prompting you with things to inquire about. Now, there's many different ways of storing metals. You might be looking down here, sticking it in a nice big shiny vault like that. That's something that we do. We keep it, but it's all about doing it the right way and making sure, again, you're in control, you own it. Mm-hmm. You might want to stick it under your mattress. Maybe that's a good option for you. Maybe it is, maybe it's not. Or you might want to put it in some kind of personal safe. Here's things to look out for and to question and to be mindful of with all of these scenarios. Is it 100% insured? Having gold in your home and having your home insurance covering gold is very difficult to do. A lot of companies don't want, insurance companies don't want to insure gold. It's too risky. Especially if you've got large amounts, they're going to pay a lot more attention to those locks on your windows and doors. If you've got a lot of metal in your home, if it's in a vault, if it's in any kind of storage, again, is it insured? Ask these questions. You have the right to know this stuff. Mm-hmm. Do you have access to it? Well, in your home, yes, you can say I've got access to it, no problem. If it's in storage, do you have to go to it or does it come to you? It's been very interesting in the last 12 months looking at how different storage options that seemingly from the front look the same, but act very differently. Mm. When borders are closed and things like that, can you get to your metals or do they come to you? Is it audited?
One quick point on that,
go ahead.
Just from one point that I've become aware of, obviously, over the last 10 years. Mm. If you, as an example, if I was to have gold stored in an international storage facility in Spain, and I was traveling to Dubai,
yes,
and they have a facility in Dubai, I can actually pick it up in Dubai from their office without transporting it myself physically.
yes.
And there's a number of international companies that will allow you to do that, just so that you know that.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's what we do ourselves.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's all about having these options as well. The other thing that we found out, again, we wish we knew this even earlier, is that storing it in the right way, something we've talked about before, you can avoid paying the VAT on the silver.
Now, legally avoid it. It's nothing dodgy.
Yeah, it's nothing dodgy. It's all above board. Some people are happy to pay the VAT and have the silver in their home. That's fine, no problem. It's just preference. But if there's an option to not pay the VAT, and you want to make the investment more efficient, in the UK, that's 20% more in your pocket.
A big chunk.
Massive. Then this is something that is available. Well, again, you've got to be aware of it. You've got to ask about it. And the next thing is it independently audited? So you can have it audited, but is it independently audited? Or is it the company that's storing it just going, yeah, we've got your gold, don't worry about it, leave it with us? Have you got some kind of, is every party being kept accountable for the auditing? We can all say, yeah, everything's good. Again, if this is your economic insurance policy, don't take any risks. Make sure everyone's kept accountable. Are there any added benefits to either having it at home or having it stored? Do you get a preferential kind of price when you sell back if it's stored in the right way? Maybe. If it's under your mattress, are there any benefits there? You've got to ask these questions. Why should I have it stored with you? Why should I not just keep it at home? Is it fairly priced? Again, any cost to your metals, to storage or anything like that is a direct cost to your investment. So it again makes the investment less efficient over time. If you're paying really high fees and you've only got a little bit of metal, then yeah, is there any point doing that? And lastly, do you have peace of mind? And this is a very relative thing. Some people would have £20,000 worth of gold in their home and say, yep, no problem. Other people would maybe have £5,000 worth of gold in their house and go, oh, I don't feel too happy leaving the house and things. And, can you go on holiday and say, yep, I have no issues. I have no doubt in my mind that everything's safe. Again, for us, this is why I know like yourself, Charlie, use reputable, researched, international vaulting companies. But again, it is how you do it. That for us is a better peace of mind than having it in our home. Yeah, we might have a little bit in our home, but the majority we have stored. So talking about any added benefits and fair pricing and things like that, we'll move on to number 4. And I feel like I could do a 3-hour lecture on this. I'm not going to do it right now. But this has been like when I found this out, this was a true light bulb moment of how the market works. And this is the price that you will get at the other side. This is how the smart investors look at things. They start with the end in mind. Have something that you can get the best price for at the other end. Also, not all percentages are equal, and I'll explain that in a second. But you have to understand how the pricing works to set yourself up now so that you can get the best outcome at the other end. So let me just humor me for a second. This is how the precious metals market works as far as pricing. You have something called the spot price. Okay, the spot price is the market price. It's interchangeable. Market price, spot price. It's like the exchange rate. If you think of gold as a currency, it's the exchange rate from pounds to gold, euros to gold, dollars to gold. As with any exchange rate, when you go on holiday and you're swapping your money over, you have the exact exchange rate. And then you go to the post office or to Bureau de Change or to swap your money. You never get that exact price. You get something above that price. And that's how the company makes their money. Yeah, in that margin, in that difference. Every company does this. So you're You're not being kind of scammed if you're paying more than the spot price. That's just how the market works. So this would be called the buy price. You have the spot price, and then you pay a percentage above that. Let's say that's 20%, just for the sake of numbers. Let's say you're paying 20% above the spot price to buy your metals. Fine, your cost is 20%, no problem. Then when you, again, using that example of swapping your currency, if you swap pounds to euros, you go on holiday, and then when you swap your euros back to pounds, if you've got any left, you get a worse rate on the other side. And this would be called the buyback price. So this is what you're getting the other side. So there's a cost for buying and there's a cost for when the company buy back. And let's say this would be at 5%, again, just for the ease of numbers. The buyback price is very, very important, more important than the buy price, I think personally. And here's why. So let's give you an example of £10,000. You've got £10,000 that you buy in metals, yeah? And you sell your metals back, the value is 10,000, and you pay the 5%. So you give 5% back when you sell. 5% of 10,000 is £500. Fine, makes sense. But that 5%, the percentage doesn't change. The 5 is still a 5. But as the value of your metals increase, that 500 also increases. So let's say your investment of £10,000 doubles to £20,000. And then you choose to sell it. You would pay 5% of your 20, which is £1,000. So it's still 5% of 20, but it's £1,000. Excuse me, it's £1,000, which when you compare that to your original 10,000 is actually 10%. So this is what we mean when we say not all percentages are equal. The buy price, the percentage, the 20% there, that's not changing, because once you've paid it, you're absorbing it, and it's just done. Fine. But this floating price, the buyback price, means that when you do well, your metals do well, you end up giving more back, and that can end up being a big percentage of your original value. Does that make sense, or have I totally confused everyone?
No, from our experience, Adam, most people only look at the buy price, don't they?
Yep, only. And we did at first. We did as well.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, look at what we're buying the metals at, but nobody ever looks at the back end. They don't look at the buyback price, and it makes such a big difference. And most of our customers save over the long term. You know, they're saving precious metals for security and for a pension, for something solid in the future. And obviously, if that's, and most people, you know, they'll have hundreds of thousands. And so if that was £100,000, what's 5% of £100,000? Yeah. And if it was a set fee, it'd be different. But obviously, we do things differently, don't we, Adam?
Yeah, and I think
people that, you know.
Yeah, what you can't do is go, oh, it's 20. I think this is what people do generally, and it's just because you don't get taught this stuff. Is you go, it's 20% at the front, and it's 5% at the back end. That's 25%, right? But if your metals double, that's 20 up front and 10 at the back end. That's actually 30% that you give up compared to your original amount. So it's very, very important to look at the buyback price. Again, start with the end in mind and get it as close to, if not the spot price, as you can. Because that means all your profits, all of your gains are yours to keep, as mad as that sounds. And there is a way you can do that. You can get it at the spot price. And it just means, you know, after the time that you've waited, you actually keep everything. We think that's the fair and right way to do it.
You have more metals in your bank for your future, for your pension. It should be in your pocket and not theirs.
Yeah.
It's the right thing to do, isn't it? Yeah.
It is, yeah. So let's go to, so this is the fourth thing, the buyback price. No one tells you about this stuff. Genuinely, no one does. The fifth thing that no one tells you about with precious metals is the flexibility, having options. The world's changing. It's moving at an incredible rate. And you need to make sure you've got these options so that you can be nimble and move with the times. So first of all, can you switch between metals? You know, if silver's going to go to the moon, which, you know, we'll all be out there partying if it does, then yes, can you switch your gold to silver? Takes the pressure off making the right decision at the beginning. Can you get your metals delivered at any time, or are they kind of locked away? Do you have that flexibility? Again, who knows what's going to happen in the future, and having them with you might be something that you want to do. Maybe you'll never have them delivered, but do you have the option? Can you sell them back easily? Again, looking at the vaulting option, and also under your mattress or in your own safe. When non-essential shops shut down, can you then go and sell your metals if they're at home? Or is the vaulting option a little bit better? Again, consider all options. Mm-hmm. Can you buy with bank transfer, credit card, debit card, and crypto? We all know crypto is getting ever more popular. It's going to be part of all of our lives in the future to some degree, you know, if it isn't already now. Do you have those options? Can you sell your metals and receive crypto? If this is something that's going to be around, and again, the future, can you do that? Is that an option? You don't want to limit yourself. Again, at the other end, start with the end in mind. Can you buy down to the penny? Are you limited with what you can buy, or do you have this flexibility? Can you choose where your metals are stored? If it's a big international company, like you said, Charlie, do you have the option? Who knows what's going to happen in the future? Do you have the option to move them to different locations if you so choose? Again, you might not even utilize this, but do you have the option? And can you, if you've got a couple of different accounts and things, can you move metals between accounts for family members? Or I know, James, you've done this quite a bit for your family, haven't you?
Yeah. It's really, really handy. Very handy.
So
my little boy, I've given him metals in the past. I've sent him metals. I've sent my mum, my dad. I think all my family really. So they've all got depots. So yeah.
Yeah. So these are just some things that we wish that we knew about. We wish that someone kind of poked us in the head early on and said, "Look, consider this, consider this, consider this." These are the questions you should be asking. And I think by asking these questions, even if you don't know a lot about the precious metals market, it will give you some idea of the landscape, the environment to which the industry kind of works, and you'll know a lot more and be able to make informed decisions. We always say with this, look, whatever you do, whether you have them at home or you have them stored or you have gold or you have silver or VAT or no VAT, whatever, just do it with your eyes open. You know, the last 12 months of talks, we don't need any more surprises. We want to do it with our eyes open and know what we're doing. Just the last couple of bits, they're the 5 things. If you want any help with any of this and you want us to kind of hold your hand through it, then please get in contact with us. We can guide you through this process, no problem. And secondly, something that we're doing, which is a first for us, is where we are doing a Goldbusters webinar. So on the 9th of April at 8 p.m. UK time till 9 p.m, we are hosting a webinar for anyone to join. It's free to join, and we've put there the topic you decide. So you can ask us questions. We just want to have a chat and see what questions people want answering and get some information out there. So if you go to goldbusters.co.uk, you can register your space. We only have a limited number of spaces, and you can also submit your questions, and we'll be answering the questions between us and just having a chat and going through things that way. What I would say is we're probably not going to go through people's individual circumstances. So don't submit personal, don't submit like your personal situation. It's not the best arena for that. Go to the website and submit an inquiry, and we can help you through that. But if you want to come and listen, or you've got some more general questions that you think other people will, should know about and would be interested in, then feel free. We'd love to have you there, and we'd love to spread the love, as James always says.
You've got to spread the love, haven't you? Exactly. As much love as possible.
Exactly right. No, absolutely brilliant. Well, thank you very much, guys. And that leads us beautifully into Easter.
It does.
That's it. Have you got a lot planned, Charlie, for Easter?
Well, we're going for lunch on the beach today, and then we're going again for lunch on the beach on Sunday.
Oh, amazing.
Wow. Sounds good.
Yes. On the beach, in your flip-flops. Oh, I can't wait to put my flip-flops on again.
Exactly. And we're starting now to see that countries are making it clear that the lockdowns are having no effect whatsoever. And the masks are not having any effect. So I think we're now coming into a very enlightened month.
Yep.
Yes, we hope so, Charlie. Hey, we hope so. Oh.
Yeah. Always good to see you guys.
And you, mate, and you.
Thanks so much, Charlie.
Have a good
weekend.
one.
You
too.
too.
Take care, mate.
Soon,
Bye.
bye.
Take care of yourself.